Okay. I can determine if a relation is linear. Again, two ways. How do you do it? What makes it linear on a graph? It makes one straight line, right? So, linear? Yes. Linear? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Linear? No, but it's made of straight lines. It's got to be continuous, right? Got to be continuous. This always has to be the same. Okay? So I have to go, my first dot, if I go this way 5, and I go up 2, where's the next dot going to be? 5 and 2. That's what makes it linear. Everybody cool? Does the line need to be connected for it to be linear? No. Okay? Don't let the name fool you. Everybody good? Everyone's at an orange light there at least. Okay. Discrete or continuous data. And explain. This causes trouble. Do you understand the difference between discrete and continuous data? Yes or no? I get $20 from my grandma every birthday. Discrete or continuous? I heard 2 discretes, 1 continuous, and then silence from everyone else. Every single birthday of my life, my grandma has given me $20. Discrete or continuous? Every single birthday. I'm 42. My grandma is dead, but let's pretend she isn't. Let's pretend she had me when she was 15 and my mom had me when she was 15. So my grandma's only 70. Every single birthday. 42 years in a row, grandma's given me $20 on my birthday. Discrete or continuous?
Depends on what the question is, because if you ask what money you have, then it's discrete. But if you ask for what your grandma gives you, then it's continuous.
But she gives me $2 every single birthday.
Yeah, but still, if you ask what money you have, you just know, like.
But when it continues to be like every day, so it's going to be discrete because it's once a year.
It's discrete because I only get the money on my birthday. Grandma does not give me my money on April 20th because that's not my birthday. So the inputs are only every April 27th. And the outputs go up in chunks of 20. Understand? If I want to know how much money is in my account on March 20th, it is going to be what it was on April 27th of the previous year, yes? Everyone understands that? Everybody? It is only continuous if you must pass through all the numbers in between. Let me give you another example. I am boiling water. How would you graph? What would the graph look like if I wanted you to graph a pot of water boiling? What would be our 2 axes? What are the 2 things that we would be counting if I wanted you to give me the data of a pot of water boiling? Antonio. Time and temperature. So, pot of water would be time and temp. Let's say we start the water as an ice cube. What is the temperature of an ice cube? 0, because the water is frozen. Agreed? 0 time, 0. When does water boil? 100. So what would this be? The top of the graph. 100, because water cannot get hotter than 100 degrees. Right? Everybody cool? So that is going to take a certain amount of time. Let's say it takes 11 minutes. Do I connect that line? Yes or no? So Abresia says I would need to record every millisecond, yes? Okay. Antonio?
I would also say yes because there is always a condition for a time.
Yeah, you would connect this line because at any given moment, there is a temperature for that time. Do you understand? The only reason you wouldn't connect it is if you were changing the dial. If you put it up to max and you put the pot on the boil, then nothing's changing. Understand? Everybody cool? I jump out of a plane. I am falling to earth. Do I have an altitude constantly, continuously? Am I always at some distance between splat and alive? Yes. So it's a continuous data, right? If I disappeared and then reappeared and then disappeared and then reappeared, what would that look like? That would be discrete and I would have dots. Everybody understand? Okay. So we're covered with discrete and continuous, and we can explain why. Yes? All right. Domain and range. All right. This is where we're in trouble with a lot of us. Are we okay with domain and range? Notice, please, I am not asking you if you're comfortable writing it, because writing it down is different than being able to find it. They are two different things. How many people are feeling good about finding it? 3 of you? Okay, I'm going to change it around. How many people are uncomfortable with how to find it? 1 person. Okay, so 4 people have an opinion, and nobody else knows anything about just domain and range, apparently. Okay, that worries me a little bit. Here's a graph right here. I'm going to zoom in on it to make it gigantic so everyone can see it. Not quite that gigantic. There we go. Where does domain live? What is the domain? It is the set of data of the independent variable. Where is the independent variable? The x-axis. So when I am doing domain, I only care about the x-axis. Which of these is the x-axis? This one. So I only care about the x-axis. Do I care about the entirety of the x-axis, or do I only care about where there's a graph? I only care where there's a graph because I want the domain of that data. Where on the x-axis does this start? Right here. Does everybody understand why it starts here? You go to the furthest point on the left. That is an open dot. So is this point included? No. So I'm going to go ahead and put an open dot there. The graph then continues. All of this, you can see there is an output all the way along until when? Here. If you look really close, you can see that's a closed dot, right? Or an open dot. So I'm just going to make it I'm going to actually change it and make it closed. So, does this dot count? Yes. Now, the domain is everywhere you have colored on the x-axis. Do I make myself clear? Sean, what's the domain? -4, -4, and up to +3. That is the domain. That is not how we write it. Now we'll talk about how we write it. Zach, is -4 included? No. So it gets a round bracket, -4. Okay? Mark, is +3 included?
Yeah.
So it gets a square bracket. This is what I use whenever I have part of the x-axis shaded in. It is called interval notation. I could also write it as this, -4 less than x, because -4 has to be less than all my x's, but all my x's have to be less than or equal to 3. Does everybody see how that works? Yes? Okay. Range is the exact same thing, but range is the y-axis. So where do I go? The bottom point. Is that an open dot? Yes. Big circle. Do I have graph all the way up? Yes. So what I do is I shade in my y-axis until I run out of graph. What is the lowest point? -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. -8, which is not included. Up to 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, which is included. -8 less than y less than or equal to 4. Are you good? Now, what if the graph does this? Oops. Well, that's okay. Now, how many domains do I need? 2, because there's this part of the domain and this part of the domain. How many ranges do I need? 2, because there's this part of the range and this part of the range. But the rules don't change in how we find it. Okay? Everybody good? All right. That is domain and range. So we're okay there. Describe a situation for a given graph. Can you do that? If I give you a graph, can you describe the situation? We did that. That is this. This whole, I lie. That is this whole section. Interpreting and sketching graphs. Can you do it? Given the graph, can you go back? Can you tell me what is happening? That's up to you. And then the other way around. If you have a graph, can you go the other way? I can sketch a graph given a scenario. Should we practice that once? Yes? All right. Somebody describe to me any scenario. Something that has happened to you recently that you do not mind sharing with the class. Because when I do it, you guys are all suspicious and you think that I am picking something that you can easily graph. So I'm going to take something from your people's lives and show you that you can indeed graph anything. Go. Oh, I forgot. You guys don't leave the house. Somebody has had something happen to them in the last month. I don't care what it is. Somebody did something. Pardon? Okay, sure. We can use snow for a situation. How many of you were awake last night at 11 o'clock when it started snowing? At least that's when it happened in Chilliwack. Okay. How much snow was on the ground? None, right? As the day progressed, what happened? More snow piled up. So, graph it. What are the two variables? Time and depth of snow. What would it look like? What did I tell you was almost always the independent variable? Time. Time, depth. Start graphing. At 0 time, how much snow on the ground? 0. As time went on, what happened to the depth of snow? It got more. Did it go straight up? Of course not, because that would be snow piling up without time passing. That's impossible. Did time pass without snow piling up? No. Snow is piling up the second it hits the ground. Is it measurable? No. So it's going to go very, very slowly up, isn't it? What if the weather changes and it becomes a blizzard? There is going to be more snow in less time. Then the snow stops for a while. What happens? Goes straight. Then, because we're in Calgary, a Chinook blows through, which brings the temperature up to 20 degrees. What happens to the depth of snow on the ground? It goes down while time carries on. Easy peasy, right? You can graph anything. You just have to think about it. When snow was going down, did time go backwards? No. Why? Because time can't go backwards. Okay? If you ever see a graph with T down there and this happens, you know it's not a real graph. Why? Because time just went backwards right there. That's not possible. Gouda? Great. And finally, function notation in 2 ways. Algebraically, which is this, f of x equals 2x plus 7, and I want the f of 2. Or the f of 5 equals 17. This, I need to find output. This, I need to find input. Can you do both of them? What happens to that 2? Where does it go? Everywhere there's an x. What happens to that 17? I'm sorry, the f of x is 17. Where does that 17 go? In there for the whole thing, and that 2 goes there only. That's algebraically. Most people are good at that. Most people are bad graphically. Let me show you a graphic one. We are looking at this guy right here, number 11. Okay? What is the f of 2? Where do I go? I go on the x-axis to what point, Antonio? 2. Why? Because that says f of x, and the x is now a 2. So I have an input of what? 2. What do I need? An output. Is there an output down here? No. Is there an output up here? Yes, right there. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 7? Not quite. So we're going to say it is 6.8. Everybody good? Yes? Okay. Now I have the f of, that's tough to see. Let's choose a better color. Let's go with this. The f of x is 4. Where do I go? 4 on the y-axis, because that is an output, yes? So I go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, and I search for an input. Right there. -1, -2, -3, but it's a little past -3, so it is, say, -3.1. Is everybody good? All right, now you prove it to me. Tell me, just using your eyes, you don't have to write it down, what is the I should write it in red. The f of -2. Don't say it out loud, just look. Now wait a moment. Bomb, bomb. How many answers are there to this question? 3. Because I go to -2 and I check. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Does everybody get it? And that's this whole unit. Okay? Everybody good? Now, I will ask you this. With this very graph, we could do almost the entire review sheet. Should I go through that whole review sheet using this graph? I could find a graph that would do the whole review sheet, including one that doesn't have time going backwards and everything. I could even do that, maybe. But it's up to you guys. Or should I just shut up and let you try and see if you can do some of this stuff on your own? All right. Your outline. Page 326 and 319. We are obviously not going to be testing on Monday, but I would expect something by Tuesday. Has it already stopped snowing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So much for 15 centimeters. Yeah. So we are all good? I'm going to take attendance because it is going to take a little bit of time today because great many people are not here. And then I will start walking around and helping people who need it. Oh, and I suppose you all want to get your polynomial test back, yes? Would you guys mind horribly if I just showed it to you, but we didn't go over it until Monday when everyone is here? Yeah. Would that be okay? Yeah. Even though some of you didn't do very well and you're going to want to go over it now? Yeah. Please don't. Just look at it. Cool. I know you haven't written it. I'm well aware. You will write it at some point in the future. Or you can not write it at all and just do the cumulative. What? Sure. It's a really short test. It's only out of 22 marks. You shouldn't have any trouble doing it at lunch. Because you were here for all the polynomials, right? Yeah. Okay. Just give me a sec. I'll get these entered into check my mark. And I will do attendance. And then I will hand them out to you. Okay? Okay. You better stop recording or all your marks will go up on YouTube.